All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I was gearing up to do a whole video of the usual motorcycle content, and then I accidentally looked at the date and that changed everything. So today is April 11th, 2025. And when I saw that date, it kind of smacked me in the head. And today is 3 years since I've had any alcohol. Now, before I get into this, I'm not a judgy person. I've never learned anything from somebody telling me to do something or telling me that what I'm doing is awful and I have to change my ways or anything like that. So there's going to be none of that. A lot of my friends in the Cleveland Moto podcast are completely cool, casually drinking, having cocktails, doing whatever. They don't have problems with it, and that's fine. And I hang out with them all the time. I got no problems with that, whatever. So I'm not judging anybody. I don't care what you do. This is just my little thing, and I'm telling you guys about my story. And I'm just kind of proud of myself, so I figured I'd expound on it a little bit. But yeah, 3 years. So 3 years exactly on April 11th, I stopped drinking. And it's kind of an interesting story. So a little background, I mean, I was always kind of rebellious. I was drinking in high school, all through college. Kind of slowed down after that for a while. Then some of the industries I got in, like the radio control industry, with the giant scale airplanes and everything. I used to work in that industry for a long time. I was a DJ at clubs for a long time, for almost 20 years. So booze was always around. I never drank a lot, but I drank a lot, if you know what I mean, like during those times. Like it would be like I drank every night, but I only have 1 or 2 drinks because I'd be at a club or I'd be DJing here, or I'd be at an airplane festival and somebody would hand me a drink or this and that and that. So it was always in my system, and I think it helped me build up a decent tolerance, which is probably not a good thing. But then that led to, when I did want to have fun, I would get loose. And unfortunately for me, what I liked was like high percentage IPAs, like them 10 and 11 percenters. So you drink 6 of those, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 of those, you wake up with your tongue stuck to something, usually the floor next to a pile of puke, or sometimes you wake up handcuffed to a trailer so that you didn't hurt anybody or yourself. You look at your motorcycle and your spark plugs have been removed for your safety. So I definitely had a period of interestingness, but I would say over the last 10 or so years, things changed. Like I heard somebody say this, and now I'm saying it a lot. Like for a long time, it seemed like alcohol was working for me, but then at one point it seemed like I started working for it, and it just got worse from there, and it became more and more demanding and shitty. So I don't think I was ever like a raging, non-functioning alcoholic kind of guy or anything like that, but I could definitely come home after work and put down 2 or 3 beers pretty much every night. And then as I got older, those 2 or 3 10% IPAs still made me wake up feeling like shit the next day. Then, if I went out with the Cleveland Moto guys or did the podcast, I would get usually shit hammered. Or if we went to Porco's, I don't even know how I got home half the time. So it definitely was a cycle that I was getting into. And as you get older, you don't recover as quick. So if you go out on a Friday night and you have fun, you might not be viable till Sunday afternoon. And when you work and you do stuff, throwing away your free days like that sucks. But the main reason I quit, and this is kind of an interesting story and a long one, so bear with me. It was just this whole situation accumulated into a day or two. And well, this is what happened. So I used to live in Cleveland Heights, and I had a neighbor, African-American dude named Mike. And his house was here, like his backyard was here, and then my house went this way, and the driveway backed up. So like his backyard was next to my driveway, and I'd always be working on my motorcycles here, so we'd always kind of see each other. Kind of like that old Tim Allen show with his neighbor Wilson, except for that Mike's face wasn't covered. So we started talking, and we pretty much over the course of a month or two generated a pretty good friendship. And then over the course of 8 years, we pretty much became best friends. I talked to that dude pretty much every day. Even in the winter, we'd stand outside and talk to each other. Great guy. In fact, when we decided to move, one of the hardest things for me to do was tell Mike that we were moving, because I almost felt like I was letting him down by leaving. And I learned so much from him, man. He came up through the cement industry here in Cleveland, Ohio. He helped do some of the bridges downtown, like just an all-around solid dude. And he really told me about his experiences as an African-American in like 50s and 60s and stuff, and really gave me a whole different understanding that I probably would have had without talking to him. So like he was a really good friend, or is a really good friend, I guess you could say. So we moved, and I hadn't been back to the neighborhood in a while. And so it was a typical Sunday. I went out and met some friends at a brewery that ended up being close to Cleveland Heights. I had 4 of those tall 20-ounce beers, probably at the brewery over a course of a bunch of hours. I never really felt drunk or hammered or anything like that. But I decided that this would be the perfect time to go say hi to Mike. So I took a 6-pack to go, and I went over to Mike's house. And he answered the door, and I could tell that something had gone wrong. He looked very sad, but also very pleased to see me. He said, "Come on in, Steve, I got a lot to tell you." So we walked in, and I offered him a beer, and he said, "No thanks." So, of course, I had another one. And then he went to tell me some of the most tragic stories that I've ever heard and known, and actually firsthand knew the people involved. Just to make it kind of short, he had a son that was 30-some years old. And he was really cool and nice, and he didn't live there, but I saw him all the time. He'd come over, say hi to his dad. Him and his dad had a great relationship. It was really cool. Well, he brought a friend over that they didn't know, and they really didn't know him because the dude obviously had some hidden schizophrenic tendencies. And when he felt threatened, he got violent. So he brings this guy over to his visit his dad with him. They're talking, hanging out in the backyard. The guy goes to get a drink inside, comes out with a knife, and ends up stabbing his son to death right there at his house. So he's telling me this story in the basement. And I mean, instantly I'm overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. Like, it's probably one of the most tragic things I've ever heard of, at least of somebody that I know. Like that I know both parties. I know everything. They're my friends. And so I'm trying to do my best to be a good friend to him, but I'm also drinking a lot because I don't know how to handle these emotions that are going through me. So when I finally leave Mike's, I had consumed those 4 big 22-ounce beers plus about 5 of the 10% IPAs. I'm not in a good shape. I'm not in condition. I shouldn't be driving. All the bad things, but also my mind is not in the right place because of what just happened. So I leave and go home, and to get from where I was to where I live now is about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. So I'm driving home, and not even thinking about it, I brought the other 2 beers I hadn't drank, or 1 beer or whatever. And so halfway home, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it. And next thing you know, I just have a beer in my hand, and I'm driving, and I'm just driving and drinking this beer. And then I look to my left, and there's a state trooper driving right next to me as I am literally holding this beer and driving. So I just casually slide it down and keep looking at him, and he hadn't looked over the whole time. So I put the beer in the center console, and I do the old 10 and 2 and let's just be cool. And I set it at 65, and he kind of pulls away a little bit, and I'm like, okay, cool. Then he slows down, and then he gets behind me and proceeds to follow me for 20 miles. I don't know if you've ever been in a position where you're not necessarily in the right and there's a cop behind you, but it is not fun. And for 20 miles, it is almost insane. It seemed like it took 36 hours to go those 20 miles. At one point, I was thinking I was just going to pull over and let it happen already because I was so sick of this guy being behind me. But as I came up to my exit, he went past me and I got off. And it was like a wave of relief like I've never felt before in my life. But I also made those promises at that exact same moment. Like, that's it. I'm done. That was it. I was being an idiot. This is stupid. And I just went home. When I got home, like all those emotions, all the adrenaline, everything kind of hit at the same time. And I got pretty hammered. Like it all kind of kicked in. My wife was there. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I explained to her what was going on. And she's like, "Maybe you should just go to bed and sleep this one off. And let's talk about this tomorrow." Good idea. So I go to bed, wake up the next morning at 6:30 because, hey, it's Monday and I got to go to work. I feel like shit. I feel like somebody has taken a baseball bat, punched me through the face, and then, put their boot on my broken face. And I collect myself, have some Alka-Seltzer, do the whole hydration thing, do the best I can, and I go to work. When I get to work, I worked in a marketing department. There's about 12 people in the room. Everybody says, "Hey, what's up? We're just doing our thing. It's Monday morning. We're kind of organizing the day." And then a person that none of us have ever seen before comes in the office and basically tells everybody in the marketing department that over the weekend the board met and that they are no longer doing their own branding, so they don't need a marketing department. So we are all free to leave because we no longer have employment. I was like, wow, well, that sucks. And then they wouldn't even let us get our stuff. It was very corporate. So they literally kicked us out with security, and they told us they'd send us our personables and our effects. They brought us our jackets, which had our car keys and stuff like that. So I jump in the car and I leave, and it hits me. This is the perfect excuse to get hammered. I mean, you lost your job. Like, what better reason is there to go and buy the most amazing beer that you can get and drown your sorrows? Who's going to get upset at you? You lost your job. It's the perfect opportunity to drink. So I drive over to my favorite drive-thru, which is about 15 minutes in the opposite direction. And I go into their beer cave and I start searching through all their IPAs to find the most gnarly one they have, because, you know, you got to roll hard if you're going to roll. I find Space Dust or something like that. It's like an 11% IPA. So I'm looking at this 6-pack and I think, well, this solution has not worked for me a lot lately. So maybe we should do the exact opposite. So I put the 6-pack back, drove home, and I instantly went online and I put together a resume, updated my resume, and started sending it out to anything I could find on LinkedIn or Glassdoor or any of those kind of places. I sent a text to my friend group and said, hey guys, unbelievably, I just got let go. If anybody knows anything. Well, within 2 seconds, Phil from Cleveland Moto hit me back and said, Steve, I need people to build motorcycles. If you want to show up today or tomorrow, you can start working until you find a new job. Wow. Thanks, Phil. That was amazing. That wouldn't have happened if I was drinking. I wouldn't have had that happen. So then I put a post up on Facebook, and I've always kept my Facebook pretty tight. It's not like a public thing, so it's only people I actually know and that kind of a thing. And I put a professional kind of post up explaining the situation. And within 12 hours, I get a reply from a friend. They said, hey, I think our company's hiring exactly what you do. They're looking for videographers and editors, etc., etc. And it's not posted, but here's the guy's email. Well, that turned out to be Summit Racing. So I now work at Summit Racing. A dream job for me. I get to film race cars, truck builds, car builds, all the things that I'm kind of interested in. And that wouldn't have happened if I would have got drunk that day. So as more and more of these positive things started to happen and less negative things started to happen, also my getting injured every time I went to a motorcycle event started to go down. My spark plugs getting pulled out of my motorcycles dropped to 0. Me waking up chained to a trailer dropped to 0. And more importantly, me waking up with cops around me went way lower too. So again, a lot of positive things. So at that point, I just decided to kind of stick with it. And honestly, I just kept working forward. Didn't think about it. I don't even think I celebrated on the first or second year. But today, for some reason, when I saw April 11th, it hit me that it's been 3 years. And a lot of positive things have happened in those 3 years. So for me, I think it was a really good decision. Oh, and I think I lost like 25 pounds too. So hey, there was another bonus as well. So anyways, everybody do what you do. But if you think you have a problem or something like that, maybe look into stopping, because if that's something that's giving you issues, you can get through it, and there's a lot of good stuff on the other side of it. I'll tell you this, mornings, man. I love mornings now. I used to hate mornings. I used to miss so many rides because I'd tell people, oh yeah, dude, I'll be there at 7 a.m. And then I'd wake up at 2:30 in the afternoon hungover. But now I'm the guy that's there at 6:45 and I'll bring donuts for everybody. So that's been cool. And because you get up and you do stuff, the weekends seem to just, if you're out partying and you wake up at 2 in the afternoon or noon or something like that, you blew half your day. You work all week and then you blow your weekend being hungover. Now, by the time I get off work on Friday, I go hard until Monday. No booze, but I'll do 9,000 different things. I'm still tired, but on Monday morning, I'm not hungover and I'm ready to go for the work week. So, all right, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to tell somebody, and you guys were the somebody. So yay me, 3 years, no booze. Moving on. We're going to get back to some motorcycle content soon. Thanks to all the Cleveland Moto guys for helping and supporting me. Thanks to Phil for helping me when that happened. That really made it a lot easier for me to take my time and find a job that I liked compared to having to rush and just take anything. Plus, I love building motorcycles. So honestly, someday I might just go back and work there if I ever have the opportunity. But besides that, thanks to everybody that supported me. I really appreciate it. And to anybody that, might feel like they want to quit or something like that, feel free to throw me a message. I'm happy to talk to you. For my buddies that can happily drink and not have a problem, I support you too. So this is not like me out there telling everybody to stop drinking or doing whatever. But if you think you want to, there is benefits on the other side of it. All right, so this one wasn't dumb, and it definitely worked for me. So we'll see you on the next one.